I got some very interesting news because very recently, only 8 out of the 200 stocks that I track got insiders buying their own stock. And we're not talking about share buybacks, but we're looking at individual people using a significant amount of money to buy the stock of the company that they work for. And why would a CEO do that? Well, he probably believes that the company is undervalued. And insiders literally see everything what's going on in the company. So when they're buying their own stock, it's often a very bullish signal. Now, the most important things to look at is when they bought it, at what price they bought it, who exactly bought it, and how significant that purchase was for that individual. And the first one that I want to talk about, and which was very surprising, at least in my opinion, is actually Micron, which is very surprising because this stock has gone on a crazy run lately. So who actually bought it? It was the director. He bought in total $7.8 million in shares at an average price of $336. So imagine seeing your stock going on a terrible run, and then the director decides to put $7.8 million of his own money into the stock. That tells you that this stock has more upside potential, at least in the director's opinion. And an important thing to note is that this was a pretty significant buy for the director. It was an 856% increase from its prior holdings. And if I take a look at my Excel sheet, I'm also forecasting that this stock has the potential to surge 200% within the next 3 years. We will see if that happens, but knowing that the director bought his own shares sounds very bullish. The second stock that insiders bought is called Upstart Holdings. The buyer was the chief technology officer. He bought $3.9 million worth of shares, and this was reported on November the 11th at an average price of $39. If we take a look at the price of Upstart right now, it's trading at around $35, which is even cheaper than when the insider bought the stock. And the crazy thing is, just a couple of days ago, they reported their quarterly results, where they slightly beat their revenues, but quite significantly missed their EPS numbers. But overall, the guidance was still great. But yeah, they decided to send the stock down more than 15%. But that is providing you a very attractive entry point if you were planning to buy the stock. I am forecasting that this one can surge up to 375% in the coming 3 years, which sounds crazy, but it's definitely possible because they have a very high margin business that is allowing them to grow their EPS at a very high clip, and that is the reason why I bought more shares in this dip. The third stock that insiders bought is called GLXY Digital. The buyer was the director, and on February the 4th, 2026, he bought in total $520,000 worth of shares, and back then the stock price was trading at $20. The stock price right now is trading at around $21, so the stock is trading at the same levels as when the director bought the stock. This shows that the director thinks that this company is oversold, and that's why he chose to put $500,000 of his own money into the stock. And for him too, it was a pretty significant buy. It increased his position by 43%, which is quite a meaningful add for him. In my Excel sheet, I'm forecasting that GLXY Digital can surge up to 300% within the coming 3 years, which is obviously a phenomenal return, and that is why it's also a decent position in my portfolio. If you want access to this Excel sheet, make sure to join the Discord. You will find the link for the Excel sheet over there. And furthermore, it's just a great community where I'll be sharing a lot of my insights for just these first couple of months for free. So make sure to join the Discord. The fourth stock that insiders bought is called Marvell Technologies. I don't own this stock myself, but I do have this one on my possible buy list. And it showed that the CEO bought in total $1.8 million worth of shares. And this is pretty interesting because 3 different people in this company with very important positions have bought this stock lately. The first one was the CEO. He bought $1 million worth of shares at a price of $77, and this was only a 5.3% increase from his prior position, which is nothing too crazy, but is still $1 million of his own money. The second person was the president and the COO. He bought $530,000 worth of shares, around the same price, $78. And the third person was the officer of Marvell Technologies, and he bought $265,000 worth of shares at a price of $78. And this was a 5% increase from its prior position. So in total, $1.8 million worth of shares has been bought by insiders. So yeah, it was some time ago, but the stock price has done nothing since then. So you still have the option to buy the stock at around the same price as when insiders bought the stock. And in my Excel sheet, I'm forecasting that Marvell Technologies can surge up to 220% in the coming 3 years, which is a phenomenal return. But just so you know, I don't own the stock Marvell Technologies, not because I think it's a bad stock, but because I know through my Excel sheet is that AMD has the same or more upside potential, and is in my opinion a much safer play. The fifth stock is actually SoFi Technologies. I owned this stock until like $27. Then I decided to sell the stock because in my Excel sheet it didn't show a lot of upside potential for the coming 3 to 5 years. And I wanted to put that money in another very similar company, which actually was Upstart Holdings, the second stock in this video. But anyway, just a couple days ago, the general counsel bought $100,000 worth of shares at the price of $21. This happened on 6th February, and this was a pretty significant buy for him because he increased his position by 41%. And the second insider was the EVP, and he also bought $100,000 worth of shares at a price of $19.90. But that wasn't that big of a buy for him because this was only a 2.2% increase from his prior position. But this shows you that insiders truly believe that the recent dip was oversold. And SoFi right now is trading at, what, $22? So you're definitely not too late. Because in my Excel sheet, I'm forecasting that SoFi can surge up to 100% in the coming 3 years, which is a very decent return. But for example, a company like Upstart Holdings could surge up to 390% in the coming 3 years. And that is one of the reasons why I chose Upstart Holdings over SoFi. Now the next stock that insiders bought is called Celsius Holdings. Ulrich Hansen, which is the president, bought $200,000 worth of shares, and he did that in 2025 November 12th, and he bought those shares at $44, and this was a 10% increase, which is quite significant. As a reminder, even though it was like a couple months ago, the stock is now trading at $48, so it only increased by $3. I like the stock, but I don't actually own it because I'm forecasting that this one can only surge 177% in the coming 5 years, which is still a great return, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for. I chose to own Elf Beauty over Celsius Holdings because I'm forecasting that Elf can surge up to 220% in the coming 5 years. And I prefer makeup companies over companies that sell energy drinks because I believe in that people over time will want to live more healthy, because recent studies show us that the new generation is drinking less alcohol because it's widely known that energy drinks are pretty bad for you. But yeah, only time will tell. It's just something that I believe in. But the final stock that insiders bought is called TSSI, and the recent buy is showing us that the director bought $40,000 worth of shares at the price of $8, and this was a completely new position for him, and this happened on November the 18th. Now I got some great news for you because the stock right now is trading at $8.5. It's still trading at the same price as when insiders bought it, and in my Excel sheet I'm also forecasting that this stock can surge up to 300% within the coming 3 years. So yeah, I own this stock. It's a decent position in my portfolio, and it's great to know that insiders bought this stock at the same price level as it's trading today. And I made a couple of videos recently where I talked about TSSI, which are definitely worth the watch. But before you watch this video, smash the like button for me and only subscribe if you want to see future videos. And once you have done that, I will see you guys in this video. Bye bye.